Welcome, everybody, to Fitness to Influence. Today, I am so excited to have Brittany Mullins of Eating Bird Food here on the podcast. Brittany, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Brittany and I go way back. I don't even know when we first met, but I know we were roommates at it was Fit Blogging. Yes, Fit Blogging.
Yeah.
Who knows what year that was?
I think the first time I met you was on that trip to San Francisco with Stitch Fix.
Oh my God, was that the first time? No.
No. Was it
I
Fit
think-
Blogging first and then that?
Yeah, we were roommates,
Okay.
and that may have been like 2009. I don't even know.
I'm thinking 2009, 2010.
It's been a long time. Anyway, we're grandmas in this
Yeah.
space. We're grandmas in the content creator space. And I'm so excited to have you on because one of the reasons why I wanted to do this podcast is that early in the days of both our careers, the most valuable information that we got was talking to each other, because you really get so much experience and value from those who are doing it and doing it well. And so I'm excited to share your journey with everybody, and, hopefully they can get some inspiration, they can get some tips. And also I want to hear about your wellness journey from, the start of eating bird food to having kids and now where you are. So let's just get right into it. So first question, I want to know, tell me about Brittany when you were younger, growing up, and then eventually, what did you study in college? What did you actually want to be when you were younger?
Okay, so growing up, I always loved food. I always loved cooking and eating especially. And then I was overweight too when I was growing up. And going into college, and what I wanted to do when I grew up, I wanted to own restaurants, specifically Outback, or work at Chick-fil-A. Those were my aspirations. My favorite restaurants, I guess. I just was like, I'll do that. So then moving on to college, that's when I started my health and wellness journey. I was like, I am not going to gain the freshman 15. That was literally like my goal. So I started working out, started exercising more. The gym was open, 24 hours. So that was really easy. And then I also lived on the third floor of my dorm room, had stairs, no elevator. So obviously I was going in and out of there, walking all over campus. So immediately my activity went up, and then eating at the dining hall. I know a lot of people were eating ice cream every day, but for me, I was like, I'll just do the salad bar. I kept it super simple. And it was kind of the first time I realized, now looking back, having someone meal prep, basically, things are just available, ready to go. And you can eat healthy if it's just there. So that was my first journey. I lost 20 pounds that year. First off, I was going to do accounting. I was always going to be a business major. I was going to do accounting. So that's what I signed up for my major. And then I had an accounting internship in my junior year, and I was like, I really don't like this. So I switched to marketing, stayed in the business school, and then I started taking some nutrition courses because I had gotten inspired and excited about nutrition. But my school didn't offer a dietetics program. So I was like, okay, I'll just stay the course with marketing, take some nutrition courses, and then after I graduate, I'll look into getting a nutrition certification or degree. So that's sort of how it evolved.
It sounds like a lot of us, I think, that were early into the healthy living blog world, we all were very into the fitness, the women's health, the self magazines in college. Those
Yep.
were our Bibles. I had a similar story in that I did gain the freshman 15, but then I was on a mission to lose it. So
Yeah.
after college, you started your blog probably pretty shortly after you graduated, but you must have had a job too. So tell us about that job and kind of balancing starting your blog with the job.
Sure. So graduated in 2007. I feel so old, but I graduated from college in 2007, moved to Richmond, and the first job I got was in commercial real estate, which if you remember anything about it was commercial real estate bust. So I got laid off 6 months in, and I had already started my blog actually that year, in March, I think, of 2008, just because what I was doing all of their social media and all of their marketing, but I still wanted that creative outlet to be focused on nutrition, but also to keep myself accountable. The reason I started my blog was to share what I was eating every day and to keep myself on track. And I'd seen, like you said, Self Magazine. So the two blogs I had seen previous to starting mine was Self Magazine had a blog called Eat Like Me, where a dietitian was sharing everything she ate. I think she was in Boston. You probably met her.
Yeah, she sounds familiar. I can't remember her name, but I know exactly who and what you're talking about.
And then someone commented on that and was like, how is your site different than Kath Eats? And then I went to Kath's blog, who at the time was in North Carolina, but I started reading hers and I was like, oh, I could do this too. And it would keep myself accountable. So like, that's how I started my blog.
That's amazing. And it is crazy, like, because there were very few of us in the beginning, and we all just kind of like trucked along at the same time. So at what point during your business were you like, oh, this is an actual full-time thing, I can scale this? Who was your first hire? And I guess you can take that even further, and how many people do you currently work with now?
I'm trying to think what year I went full time, but basically, there were some people in the space who I were seeing had their blog as a full time job. And I think it was after Instagram came out and people like there were some better options for ad revenue because for a while with the ad revenue, you were earning like it was comical, like $30 a month for your ads that were on your site. And people were like, reaching out to companies to get their own ads. Like, you'd have like a local company advertising on your sidebar or whatever. So when the big ad networks came on the scene is when we realized like, okay, we can be making more from this and it can be like a full-time job. And so at that point, I was working for a online grocery store. So I kind of had found like what I would say was like my dream job. And then I was doing eating bird food on the side. So I was doing all the social media marketing for an online natural grocery store. It was really exciting, but it was a startup. So I was working like 60 hours a week as well as doing my site and the Instagram and all of those things. And I was just like, I was burning out and like something had to give. So I decided like, okay, I have to either take this full time and see what'll come from it or kind of like stop doing it, honestly, because I was getting burnt out. So Isaac was a teacher at the time. And so we didn't have like, a lot of extra income, but I figured like if I can put all the time and effort I'm spending at my full-time job onto this, I think I can make it work. So quit my job. It was the scariest decision. It took me so long to do it, but I quit my job and just decided to go full force with it. And I think even like that year, I made more than I was making in my marketing job. So it was a no-brainer. But obviously it took a lot of like, it was hard to do. I'm also a terrible person at like leaving a job. Like I just get so nervous. I don't want anyone to like be mad or, I want to
Yeah.
make everyone happy. So anyways, that was that part of it. And then for a while I did it all by myself. I did everything by myself. And I think it was the big catalyst was having kids is when I was like, I have to hire things. I think I'd had like some small VAs here and there, like help me with a few things. But it was when I was pregnant with Olivia, I knew I needed help. So it's still a contractor. All of the people who work for me are contractors. But my first, like, she's like works more full-time hours was right before Olivia was born. And then at this point, I have 4 main contractors who are like in my Slack. And then I have several other contractors who do different things like photography, videography, like one-off projects, that sort of stuff.
You sound like me. I would have thought that you would have hired someone sooner. I was dragging my feet as well.
I will say I did have an intern through like the local college here, and she's still with me, which is wild. She's been with me like 8 years. And she came to my house and helped me shoot content. So like when I was taking all my own photos and doing my own videos, they're so funny to look back on now. But like, so maybe she was my first hire, but like that was an intern, so it was a little bit different.
Yeah, I think that's something that a lot of us struggled with early on. And, if for anybody watching this, there's, 2 things that people say. You can either have control or you can have growth, but you can't have both. And it took me a while to like, acknowledge that and be like, you're right. I need to hire other people to help me because I just don't have the bandwidth. So you talked a little bit about your pregnancy with Olivia. How did your business change once you had kids? Did you work less? Did you work the same amount? How did it affect eating bird food?
It was also different for Olivia. So she was born in November, and then that was 2019, and then COVID happened. So it wasn't like we immediately like put her into childcare or anything. So she was at home with us. And then we had my mother-in-law come over. Like she would be there to watch Olivia while I was working, but she was still in the house. I was still nursing her. So I was still working about the same like 9 to 5 kind of hours, but a little less structured because I was like tending to her too. But even still now with 2 kids and they're both in school now, I feel I do work a little less, but I also don't work at night because I'm old now and I cannot work at night. Anything I do at night, I'm like, this was terrible. I cannot work like between 8 p.m. and 11 p.m. This is terrible.
So we're going to shift a little bit. And now I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about your kind of current wellness journey, social media strategy, all that stuff. So, first question is, what does a typical morning look like for you?
Typically, I'm waking up between 5:45 and 6. And then I'm trying to get my workout in before the kids wake up. But usually Olivia's up. She's usually up between like 6:20, 6:30. So she joins me for the workout, which is really cute and fun most of the time. So she'll work out with me. And then we just go right into the morning routine with the kids. So like getting them breakfast, packing their lunches, get them out the door. Isaac takes them to school and does drop off. And so I start working as soon as he's out the door, which typically it's like, ideally it's 8:10 when he's leaving because they can be at school at like 8:45. And then I start working. So I don't have, my morning routine is mostly just getting my workout in, drinking my water, drinking my coffee, and getting started with the day.
So, do you not have help for the kids? They just go to school or daycare?
Yeah.
That sounds lovely. So, when do you work until?
So they get out at 2:45. So Isaac goes and picks them up, brings them home, and then he hangs out with them until usually like 5.
All right. So I wanted to go a little bit back. So wellness journey. I've talked a lot about how my wellness journey has changed. What has changed for you and your recipes since you first started to now?
When I first started posting, I was like we were talking about with the Self magazine and all of those old school magazines. I was like eating as little as possible, like 1,200 calories. Like that was my goal. Meanwhile, I'm like 5'6", so probably not the best goal for myself. And basically, I was trying to be thin, if I'm being honest. Like that was my main goal when I first started working out and eating healthy. To the point where when I got off birth control, I didn't have my period. And I worked on that for a long time. I went and saw a fertility specialist. This is even before we were going to have kids. But like I wasn't having a period for over 2 years. So I worked on that. He was like, you need to exercise less and eat more, which was devastating to me to hear because I was like, I'm not even that skinny. Like, what are you talking about? My body can't be like not having a period because of how thin I am or like my weight. I was like 130 pounds, you know? But obviously we know now, like any stress on your body, exercise is stress. Yes, it's a good stress, but it's a stress to your body. You're not eating enough. That's a stress to your body. So as soon as I started exercising less, eating more, got my period back, all was good, except for like I gained 20 pounds in order to do that. So now I think my approach, and then I think also having kids, that just totally reframed like my appreciation for my body. Like I was in the best place. Like I wasn't scared to gain weight with my kids. Like I just knew like I am creating a child here. So like I think it was really good for me mentally, being pregnant, having kids, and then building my strength back once they were born. So now my focus is on getting stronger, functional movements, keeping my muscle, and way less cardio than I was doing. I was doing a ton of cardio, lots of running. Like I was all about wearing my heart rate monitor. This is even before Apple Watches, and like making sure I burned like 500 calories in a workout kind of thing. Yeah, it was all about and like that's why I didn't want to do strength training, because if I did strength training, I would burn like 100 calories, and I'm like, what the heck? Like,
Yep, I get it. Like I would run to bar class and then I would run home like a mile because I was like, oh, I don't burn anything in bar.
Yep. Oh, I felt the same. I did bar too. I was on a Pure Barre kick. I did Orange Theory. And now I do at-home workouts, which I love. I started doing at-home workouts with Peloton. Like, I just had the app. I don't have the bike or anything. And I did those all throughout my pregnancies too. They're like prenatal, like I liked the like quick and easy. I would do like 10 to 20 minutes, like bar classes or the prenatal classes. So now I do 30-minute workouts at home, more focused on strength, a couple HIIT days a week, and it's been a game changer for me. And I have my own little gym now. I have like my weights, I have my bench, my treadmill. I walk on my treadmill desk a lot.
I know, right?
No, I'm
That's
teasing.
same. I love my desk treadmill. I have a treadmill. I don't have a desk on my treadmill, but I feel the exact same way.
Work on it and walk on your treadmill?
No, because I don't have a desk. I don't have a
You
desk.
can just get the little attachment. I don't have like
know.
a walking pad thing.
So my current walking pad is in my screened-in porch. So it is limited to when the weather is appropriate. Yes.
Yeah.
A little bit of limitations of buying a house in the suburbs in 2020 before the pandemic, when you didn't realize you were going to literally do everything at your house. So another question that I love asking other content creators. Now, I know you have a book. You can download a weekly meal plan, and then you have, your LTK. How many buckets do you have? And where would you say the bulk of your time and effort is spent among them?
So my different, like in terms of revenue streams, right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Sorry. Yes.
So ad revenue from my site. So if you go to my site and you see the ads on the sidebar or in the content, that's one bucket. And that's
Are
the
you with
biggest one.
Raptive?
I'm with Raptive. Because of like all of the changes with search optimization, like Google changes all of the time. So that's not a guarantee. And then also I'm kind of trying to diversify because you don't want all of your eggs in one basket. So ad revenue is probably about 75 to 80% of my revenue right now, but I am looking for other options. So I do have my protein meal plans that I just launched this year, and I've launched 4 different ones, so seasonal. And then I have a 6-week meal plan that I did a long time ago, which still is available on my site. And then my other thing is this year I've been trying to grow my affiliate income. So through LTK, it's been a big thing. I think I started the year with maybe 3,000 followers. Now I have 16,000 on LTK. So I'm proud of that. And then Amazon, obviously that's a good one. And then other you can join, there's a ton of different affiliate platforms like CJ and Howl, and Target has their own now, like a creator program. So I'm exploring that a little more, but that's pretty much my revenue streams.
You do the faster way. You are a client. And so
Yeah.
I know for you, I don't think that's probably as big of a bucket for you. There are people that is a huge bucket. And, I think you and I early on experienced the power of affiliate marketing because we were 2 of the few and only affiliates of Tone It Up back in the day. We talked about that right before I hit record a little bit. And, I don't know how you did with that, but that for me did so well. And I was like, oh my God, this is, an incredible opportunity. I can just sell other people's products and I don't actually have to create them because, a little different from you at that time. I don't think I was a trainer yet. I think I was still just kind of like a YouTube host. But, it's interesting hearing other content creators how they make money because it's still, I'm sure you agree, you go to a dinner party and the first question is, what do you do? Oh, how do you make money?
Right. Okay, but back up. I kind of forgot one big revenue stream, which is sponsored content. And I know you've done it too, but yeah.
Yeah, we did forget to say that. Actually, you know what? I'm going to ask you, how do you think that's changed, that's shifted? Because at least for me, when I had a smaller following on Instagram, I got a lot more sponsorship. People reached out. And now it's a lot less. And that's okay because I have, my priorities are shifted more with my clients personally. But for you, how has that changed? Because you have a lot of Instagram followers these days.
It used to be people wanted blog posts, and now no one requests a blog post. It's all social, and it's either Instagram or TikTok are the biggest ones. And people used to pay for Facebook posts and Pinterest posts too. That's no longer a thing. So it's literally just Instagram or TikTok. They want you to create reels or do stories. And I do think there's so many micro influencers, and a lot of times there's just so many options for the companies to go to. So for me, I take on a very limited amount of clients. I can get emails all the time, but I take on a very limited amount of clients, products that I trust, I already use for the most part, or I've used it for a while and then I'm going to recommend it. I do not take my sponsorships lightly. So it's only things that I'm willing to spend my money on and that I would actually feel really good about promoting. And I like the ingredients, everything has to be on point for me to sponsor or me to take on the sponsorship.
Back in the day though, when I first started, I'd be like, anybody, when we first started out, I really did. I mean, I didn't to an extent, but my mom literally purchases every single product that I do a sponsorship with. So, I don't know how it is for you, but every time someone comes up to me, emails me, I'm like, if my mom buys this product, do I still think it's a great product?
And you have to think about that. You want your audience to really trust your recommendations, and you can't just every week be promoting something else, So I kind of like it. It's more quality over quantity now. And then I can really put my time and energy into it too, because they take a lot of work.
They take up so much work, and I get so frustrated when people don't understand how much work goes into these businesses, which is another reason why I wanted to do this podcast, to be like, there's a lot of work. You work 8 to 5. That is a lot of hours that you're putting in, and you can see it, your content shows it, but it's not, a mom at home on her phone, just sitting on the couch, drinking her lattes. It's hard work. So the last big question that I wanted to ask you is, what was the biggest game changer in your business that you think really elevated you? Because, at least for me, I was kind of at the same point for a long time. And then then just all of a sudden, this one thing just clicked and totally changed my business. For me, it was the power of lead magnets and growing my emails. But for you, what was that kind of that pivot, that surge that, kind of brought your business to the next level?
For me as a blogger, like that's my primary thing. It was SEO and focused on that and like actually being intentional around the content that I was posting. Cause honestly, I used to post blog posts with the craziest names, nothing to do with the recipe I was going to be posting. And then I would tell my whole life story, my whole weekend update. And then at the bottom, there'd be the recipe. Like I'd be like, here's everything Isaac and I did. Here's what our dog like looked like. And then here's this recipe at the bottom, like here's this cornbread. And it was literally anything that I wanted to post, I would be posting rather than like really what I thought my readers would want or what people were searching for. And it was like, okay, nowadays I'm testing holiday recipes like now or even like a month ago. And back in the day, I would post like my Thanksgiving recipe like the day of, or I would be like the day after. I'd be like, here's what I made for Thanksgiving. Like, hope this is helpful next year.
This is so helpful. And wait, and I guess I want to ask a follow-up here. What do you use for this might be boring to some people, but what do you use for your recipe plugins on your site? Is that someone that does tech or is that something that you do?
It's the plugin is called WPRM. So it's like WP Recipe Maker.
Yeah. See, I like the nerdy things. Like maybe some people don't, but I like want to know. And my actually other quick question is, what do you use for your emails?
ConvertKit. Now they're Kit.
And actually, the other question, I DM'd you and I was like, what are you using for your automated DMs? Everybody uses ManyChat, but you are not. Are you still using the alternative to ManyChat or have you switched over?
Okay, now I have both. I use ManyChat for Facebook and LinkedIn for Instagram. ManyChat do you use it? I do not like the interface.
I do, but I don't love the interface.
It's so confusing to me. I need to go in and like learn it more. So my social media manager, she's the one who sets it all ManyChat up on Facebook. And that's actually been a game changer on Facebook. I will say we gained 10,000 followers last month and we just started using it.
That's amazing. So you have a social media manager. So does she help you create your strategy or how do you do your social media? Do you wake up one day and you're like, I'm going to post this? Or do you guys plan out a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks in advance? How do you guys do your social media?
We plan it out in Asana. And so we have a calendar and I'm usually posting 3 or 4 reels a week. And a lot of times we're repurposing old content. That's a trick. And that tends to work well. Like I did a viral apple Samoa recipe. I posted that last year, posted again this year, and it went even more viral.
I didn't realize that was from last year. I saw it this year and I didn't realize that was from last year.
It was from last year. So we're planning it out, like looking at what did well last year. What can I create that's new? What can we repurpose? And usually we're planning 2 to 3 weeks in advance. And we use Planoly for the captions. So she'll draft up the captions, put them in Planoly. She'll help me. I'll shoot the content and she edits the reels. And then we decide, is this going to be voiceover? Is this going to be audio only? Then look at the trending audio, see what will go well with it. And it like based on the length, whether we think it needs voiceover or not. And like, what do we think will do better? Then we post. And then we repurpose all that content. So we put it from any of the reels that I create for Instagram. We also post over to Facebook and TikTok and YouTube Shorts. And then Pinterest too.
That's amazing. I need someone to help me do that because I I start to do it and then I get like distracted and I just
It's a lot.
It's a lot. You do need someone to do it. Is your social media girl the one that almost works full time?
She works around like 25 to 30 hours a week. And then I have someone else who's like the content manager and she works pretty much full-time hours. And I have a graphic designer who does all of our like labeling of my ingredient shots and then the Pinterest graphics because I still am old school. I like make my Pinterest graphics with the text and everything. And then any of my ebooks, she designs those. And she's the one who started with me as a kitchen assistant as an intern in college.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. And then I have a VA who used to be a blogger too. And she still has her blog, but Hillary Parker. So she does email marketing and also my LTK graphics.
They're beautiful. I looked at them today.
Thank you. So we usually do 2 collages a week on there. And then I post like just outfits of the day too.
I love that. This is so interesting. And I love all of this. I am so thankful, grateful that you came on. I want to finish this with a rapid fire and I hope that's okay. So these are looking for like one word, like, obviously like one sentence answer. I did not prep you with these. They're not like brain busters. They're very, you're going to be like, oh, this was like silly. Are you ready?
Yeah.
First one is, do you do intermittent fasting? Yay or nay? And how many hours?
Yay, 12 hours.
Same. What time? Oh, we already got this one. What time do you work out?
In the morning, usually. That's ideally 6 o'clock-ish.
Are your kids picky eaters?
A little bit.
I love that. Like all the people that I do that do food content creation, I'm like, do your kids all eat that? And it's like,
Not always, no.
what app do you spend the most of your personal time on for social media? Or do you not use social media at all because you use it so much for work?
Instagram.
Same. What is your favorite protein bar?
Ooh, this is a tie. So I really like the Aloha peanut butter cup and then the creamy crisp barbells, which aren't the best ingredients, but they're so good.
I haven't had that. I'll have to try it.
Trader Joe's.
My favorite's the Aloha lemon cashew.
Ooh, okay.
Do you dry brush?
Oh, I had a whole blog post about it and I used to, but no.
Same. Red light therapy?
I'm researching and I want to, but I don't yet.
Same. What about cold plunge?
Never done it. I hate being cold.
I've done it twice and it is what it is. What about a sauna?
Love it, but I don't have access to one.
And last one, if you had one piece of advice for someone starting out, what would it be?
Just start. If you're like just on the fence about it and you are like want to try it out, you just do it. Just get started.
I love that. Well, thank you, Brittany, so much. This was so fun. I loved connecting with you again. For those of you guys at home, Brittany and I probably used to see each other at least like twice a year at like various events. And ever since, a lot of us early healthy living bloggers had kids, it's kind of like the whole world, not world. Well, I guess the world did shift because of COVID, but the whole world of blogging and it being an influencer just kind of changed. Because when we first started, we would say we were bloggers, right? I would say I was like a YouTuber, blogger. And now no one really identifies as a blogger. Maybe you still do. It's more of like a content creator. I think we all try to say.
Instead of influencer, because for a while it was going to, like, everyone was like, oh, you're an influencer.
Yeah. Well, I feel like a lot of the people that I'm going to have on here, people like outsiders would identify them as influencers, but as individuals, it's like, well, no, like I'm an artist, but I just have a large following, or, I am a personal trainer and I just happen to also share workouts on social media.
You can be both. You can be both. Anybody can be an influencer.
That's true. But this podcast is going to be about people who have taken their following and actually made a living and make significant income and can support their families. So thank you, Brittany, so much. I loved chatting with you, and I hope you guys all learned a thing or two, were inspired, were entertained. And if you have any questions for Brittany, where can they find you? Where do you want people to find you? On Instagram, on your blog?
Sure, either place. So blog is eatingbirdfood.com and Instagram is eatingbirdfood.
Thank you, guys. Make sure you follow the show to hear more inspiring stories from other content creators, fitness to influence, and I will see you guys next time.